Good evening. Welcome to Sports Today. You are live with me, Rajarshi Gupta. Well, big breaking news around the world of cricket already. Of course, the big thing, a couple of things here that I'm here to talk to you about. The Indian squad for the South Africa Test series has been announced, and also the big news, the bigger news, is that Rohit Sharma has replaced Virat Kohli as captain of the ODI side. Of course, Rohit Sharma had taken over as captain of the T20I side just a few weeks back in that three-match series against New Zealand, which they won 3-0. Now, BCCI has officially named Rohit Sharma captain of the ODI and the T20I side going forward. So Virat Kohli has been removed effectively as the captain of the ODI team. Of course, he still continues to remain Test captain. Virat Kohli is still India's Test captain. But here's the other thing: Rohit Sharma has also been promoted to Test vice captaincy, which means Ajinkya Rahane has lost that position, that profile. Of course, it wasn't a surprise because Ajinkya Rahane's form had been on the wane. Of course, Rohit Sharma had rested for the two Test matches against New Zealand. Virat Kohli had opted to rest out of the three-match T20 series and the first Test match, wherein Ajinkya Rahane stood in as skipper in Kanpur. Rahane's form really over the last several years has been on the decline. He wasn't played in that second Test match in Mumbai where Shreyas Iyer um, sorry, beg your pardon, when Virat Kohli returned to the team, there was the official version was that Rahane had an injury, but Rahane has been selected for the tour of South Africa, as has Cheteshwar Pujara. But one just gets the feeling, especially for Rahane, is going to be that last throw of the dice, perform or perish, probably would be the sentiment around Rahane as India gear up for the tour of South Africa. I'll talk to you more about Rohit Sharma replacing Virat Kohli. But before I go there, here's the Indian Test squad for the tour of South Africa. This is how it's looking like. Then Virat Kohli captain, Rohit Sharma vice captain. Already told you he's replaced Ajinkya Rahane as vice captain. KL Rahul, who was also rested for the two Test matches against New Zealand, has returned. Mayank Agarwal, couldn't quite ignore him there, could you? Um, After his stellar performances in Mumbai, 150 and another half century in the second innings there. Clearly, the star for India with the bat. Cheteshwar Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, Shreyas Iyer, sensational debut in Kanpur, becoming the first India batsman to score 150, 100 and a half century on debut. Hanuma Vihari, he's back in the Test squad. A lot of eyebrows were raised when he did not make it to the Test squad in India, but he is already there with the India A squad and he's got runs. So it's good to see him back in the squad. Rishabh Pant was also rested for the Test matches against New Zealand. Is back. Riddhiman Saha, he played the two Test matches in Kanpur and Mumbai. Remains on in the squad. R. Ashwin, Jayant Yadav has been included, as has Ishant Sharma. His form has been a cause for concern as well. Again, Shami, who was rested for the two Test matches in Kanpur and Mumbai, is back. And Umesh Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Siraj. No surprises there then. Shardul Thakur, of course, remember his impactful performances in Brisbane at the Oval, all-round performances, not just with the ball, but also with the bat. He will undoubtedly be a major asset to the Indian team with his bowling as well as his low order batting. So that's the squad for India for the three Test matches against South Africa. A couple of players, or some players, have been named as standby: Navdeep Saini, Saurabh Kumar, Deepak Chahar, and Arzan Nagaswala. So these guys are already there in South Africa with the India A team. They will stay on as standby players. Remember the three Test matches, of course, the first of which starts on Boxing Day on the 26th of December at Centurion. The second Test match, the New Year's Test match, starts on the 3rd of January at the Wanderers in Johannesburg, and the final Test match starts from the 11th of January at Newlands, Cape Town. So that's the sequence of Test matches. That's a schedule of Test matches, and that is what the squad is looking like. Like I said, no real surprises, and it was expected Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara would remain in the team. You need some experience going to South Africa. It's not an easy place to tour. You remember what happened last time India went there 3 years back. 3-4 years back, it was India lost the first two Test matches, but they bounced back to win the final Test match on a tricky Johannesburg pitch. Rahane got some runs in the second innings. Virat Kohli was in fine form. That is where Jasprit Bumrah showcased his Test match skills. Ishant Sharma was, of course, a very important part of the team back then as well, and as was Mohammad Shami. So a lot of these players have a lot of experience, having gone to South Africa, so they wanted to retain um, that flavor of experience this time around as well. But the playing 11 could be anybody's guess. Mayank Agarwal, you would think, is a backup opener, but how do you keep him out of the playing 11 after all the runs that he got in Mumbai? And he's now again back to he's moved up the rankings in the ICC Test batting list to move to 11th after his heroics in Mumbai. Ajinkya Rahane, like I said, there was a lot of question. There were lots of questions around Rahane, his form, his dip in form, but he's retained his place for the time being. He needs to score runs. You go back to what he did at the MCG, got that 100 exactly a year ago in the Boxing Day Test match in Australia, led India from the front after that horror loss at the Adelaide Oval. But after that, he's not really done too much with the bat. Yes, you could pick up a couple of instances here and there, that gritty partnership with Chiteshwar Pujara at Lords. But you take those two innings out over the last 1 year and you go back further to the start of 2020, 2019. Yes, he was very, very good in the West Indies alongside Hanuma Vihari, but you'd expect more from Rahane with 79 test matches. So same with Chiteshwar Pujara, 92 test matches. Didn't get runs in the first innings in Mumbai. Got 47 when he was asked to open alongside Mayank Agarwal because Shubman Gill picked up an injury. So those two will find out that this is a very, very important series for them. Career defining, at least for Ajinkya Rahane, is what I would say. I'd put my neck on the line and say this is a career defining series for Ajinkya Rahane, because if he doesn't get runs here, then you're not going to get to see a lot of Ajinkya Rahane, at least in the near future, because of the hunger and the dedication the younger players have shown, especially Mayank Agarwal and Shreyas Iyer, who started off with a bang. And of course, three players missing out from the series win over New Zealand. Three players who wouldn't go to South Africa: Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, and Shubman Gill, all out injured. Ravindra Jadeja, especially, his absence is going to be, that's going to be a major gap in that team. But you would suspect R. Ashwin will play all these test matches as the lead spinner. And then they also have Jayant Yadav as a back, as another spinner in the squad. There are two spinners, of course. You'd want to take a pace-heavy attack when you go to countries like South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, and England. So that's how it's going to look like. Well, that's as far as the test squad is concerned then. Coming to the ODI captaincy, then again, it was a one-line statement from the BCCI. They tweeted, alongside the India test squad, they tweeted this one line from BCCI. It said, the All India Senior Selection Committee also decided to name Mr. Rohit Sharma as the captain of the ODI and the T20I teams going forward. Now, there was no ambiguity over his T20I captaincy. Of course, there was no official announcement made. But at least Rohit Sharma has now been officially also named captain of the ODI side. This is the catch here. When Virat Kohli announced his retirement, announced his decision to step down as T20I captain, he did say he would continue to lead India in the Test and the ODI formats. Again, there was no there was no other word from Virat Kohli. He did not say he was stepping down. He did not give out any official statement. So it's safe to assume that he's been removed as the one-day captain as well, following India's debacle at the T20 World Cup. And we told you this before. If India did not win the T20 World Cup, Virat Kohli's future even as ODI captain would be jeopardized. And going forward, that is what the selectors have done. Rohit Sharma is also in his mid-30s. We don't know how long he's going to play, maybe 2 years, 3 years from now. But I suspect they're looking at the ODI World Cup as well as the T20 World Cup next year. And with just 2 years away, less than 2 years away actually from the ODI World Cup, they wouldn't want to hunker this responsibility on someone very young. But yes, there are other pretenders to the throne as well, going forward, who succeeds Rohit Sharma. There are the likes of KL Rahul shaping up so well. There's Rishabh Pant, there's Jasprit Bumrah. So there are options. I'm sure the selectors and the team management would have zeroed in on a few of them, because this is that kind of an era, right? You remember Anil Kumble briefly taking over as captain of the Test team. Then MS Dhoni came over, and that is when MS Dhoni was being groomed. So you would expect a lot of action around the leadership group. And Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid, they're going to form another leadership aspect, another leadership pair. And this is what a lot of us were talking about. Is it time for split captaincy? Because Virat Kohli's record as Test skipper is unprecedented. He's easily India's best and most successful captain in Test cricket. He's won 39 matches out of the 66 Tests he's led in. He's been stellar as a batsman. Yes, over the last year or couple of years, even his form has been a bit of a downer. He hasn't got 100 since November 2019. That's a long time for a player of his class and caliber. He's been getting starts, but not quite going on to score the big ones. Got out for a duck in the first innings in Mumbai after returning to the team. Got out for 36 in the second innings, but in all fairness, he did look a little scratchy. But you would expect someone of his class and stature to bounce back very, very quickly. And maybe in a way it is now time to move on to newer ideas, a newer captain, and see what they can do. And Rohit Sharma, of course, his captaincy record is impeccable. Championship, IPL championships for Mumbai Indians. He's led India to victories in Tri-Nation Series. The Nidahas Trophy comes to mind. The Asia Cup comes to mind. So he has a lot of captaincy experience. Every time Virat Kohli has in the past decided to step to rest for a particular T20 or an ODI series, Rohit Sharma usually would fill in and lead the team. And the team, of course, has the respect and Rohit Sharma, of course, has the respect and the attention of the players. So that'll be, looking forward. Essentially, this is looking forward, I think, to the next year's to the T20 World Cup next year and the ODI World Cup the year after in 2023. A lot of ICC tournaments to be played over the next 8 or 10 years. That's a long list of ICC tournaments. So there is the need now for India to, there's a need for resurgence at this point. And who better than Rohit Sharma to do that in the shorter formats? And Virat Kohli continues to lead Indian Test cricket. Split captaincy then, the way ahead for the Indian team. Right then, a few comments, some questions, some suggestions, no doubt. Why not? Calvin Levy, I'll take that one. Mumbai ka Raja Rohit Sharma is now India ka Raja. All the best to our new white ball captain Rohit Sharma, says Galvin. Okay then. Sachin Chaudhary, finally Rohit Sharma becomes the captain of the Indian ODI cricket team. Yes, that is the way forward for this Indian team then. Split captaincy. Bhaskar Markandan. Rahane, foot movement is sluggish and weakness is exposed by opponents. So many chances. Okay, one more chance, but waiting career only. Well, we've spoken about Rahane's performances. Anil Kumar, this is expected. Yes, if you expected that, you were a very, very sharp cricket mind, Anil, because that's true. There were murmurs in the fraternity wondering whether Virat Kohli would be able to retain his place in the squad. Beg your pardon. Virat Kohli would be able to retain his place, his spot as captain after what happened in the T20I World Cup. And that is effectively what has happened. The selectors decided it was time for Rohit Sharma to take over as captain, and it was time for Virat Kohli to probably just enjoy his stint as a player. Because remember, we've watched these guys for 10, 11, 12 years now, but do remember they are all in the 30s, mid 30s, heading towards a phase when we're not going to see them for too many years. Virat Kohli, extremely fit guy, as is Rohit Sharma. How many more years are you going to see them for? 4 years, 5 years tops. So might as well let these guys enjoy their stint while they are still playing for India. It's always a little. You look at these moments. Just a few years back, MS Dhoni in the end of 2014, at the peak of the Australian summer, decided to retire from Test cricket after helping India draw the MCG Test match. Virat Kohli took over as full-time Test captain thereafter, and then a couple of years later, in 2017, the January of 2017, MS Dhoni decided to step down as captain in the shorter formats as well, and that's when Virat Kohli took over. Over the last 4 years, Virat Kohli has been exceptional as captain. Yes, you're going to look back at his report card and look at different aspects of his leadership. Now, what he did in Test matches has been remarkable. Winning series in Australia, the first one in 2018. Of course, he returned home for the birth of his child in 2020. But Ajinkya Rahane led the team to victory. But this has all been there has been a lot of Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri in those victories. And again, leading England 2-1 before the fifth match, before they returned before the Manchester Test match, right? But the final Test match will be played sometime next year. So, a lot of credit to Virat Kohli, what he's done with the Test team. Yes, when he looks back at his career as captain, he would be disappointed not to have won an ICC tournament. He captained India in the Champions Trophy, the 2017 Champions Trophy. That was his first as captain. India reached the final. In the 2019 World Cup, he took India to the semi-finals, losing to New Zealand in a thriller, in a rain-truncated but a very, very close contest. 2021 World Test Championship as well. Virat Kohli led the team to the final, and like I keep saying, they were easily the best team in that WTC cycle, winning a series in Australia, winning a series in the West Indies, winning against England pretty convincingly at home. They decimated every opposition that came their way at home, especially. So they are world beaters now in Test cricket, but the shorter formats sides definitely need a fresh infusion of ideas and leadership. Srikant Sri, maybe making captain like Rahul or Shreyas will help for the future of India rather than Rohit Sharma because, like Dhoni, nurture Kohli in captaincy. But I get what you're saying, and that is exactly what I said. Maybe you missed that segment of the show, Srikant. Um, Rohit Sharma, I get the feeling they have made him captain, bearing in mind that there are two back-to-back World Cups in the next year. You get to see the T20 World Cup, the ODI World Cup the year after. So they needed someone with experience, with someone with proven captaincy, you know, with a proven track record in captaincy. So that is therein lies the decision to bring in Rohit Sharma as captain, and I'm sure you'll get to see some of the younger guns lead India in the years to come. But for now, the reins have been handed over to Rohit Sharma, who has been obviously vice captain in the ODI and the T20 team. So it's a natural level of succession. And therein, after that, I'm sure when they have figured out who they want to take over from Rohit, I'm sure he would be groomed. Yes, scale Rahul could be an option just with Bumrah. Why not? Could be an option. You've seen Pat Cummins take over as Australia Test captain, a fast bowler. There is Rishabh Pant, of course. Yes, Shreyas Iyer, who knows? But they will have to consistently keep proving themselves. Captaincy. When Virat Kohli was nurtured under MS Dhoni, he showed the potential to be the best player in the team. Same with MS Dhoni when he was being nurtured by Rahul Dravid, Anil Kumble more specifically. Um, he had shown the acumen on the field. He had showed his cricketing acumen, his cricketing brains. That's how Indian cricket has been blessed with so many good captains over the last several years, and hopefully the tradition will continue. And Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli will be able to groom um, the next captain, whoever that is. But for now, the focus will be on the split captaincy. The focus will be on Virat Kohli trying to win the World Test Championship for India, and on Rohit Sharma as he tries to lead India to the T20 World Cup victory, or right, the ODI World Cup victory there as well. So that's that. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, the two captains of the Indian team, so three Indian teams, and Rohit Sharma also promoted as Test vice captain. Ajinkya Rahane losing that spot there. Well, then, that's all that I have for you. Thank you so much for joining in with your comments, your questions, and your opinions. And of course, I'll see you again sometime tomorrow as we delve deep into what India can do in South Africa. Can they create history? Can they win a series there finally for the first time in 29 years? Lots and lots at stake as this Indian team gears up for the tour of South Africa. 3 test matches to begin with, and the 3 ODIs. The T20 will be played at a later stage. But again, it's going to be the beginning of a very, very important cricketing season for India. The last test match for India this year, can they continue their fine form and end 2021 on a high? Thank you so much. Do subscribe to Sports Today and have yourselves a very, very good evening. See you very, very soon. Thank you.